before you go on, and Helen Hayes said to me, don't kid yourself. Stage fright is God-given, and it is. And you can't think of a line suddenly. And I got stage fright before every single show. This could be the audience that doesn't get it. They could very easily not. And so you stand there and you think, how can I do that? I can't. And you get out there and you say, oh, there's Daddy. Right there, I'll tell him the whole story, and you just completely relax, because nothing happens unless. And Noel Coward said to me, look, we all do it, love. Put me in your audience, and you'll see it'll work. And it doesn't work with somebody that doesn't. I realized that this marvelous, charming, adorable woman, so funny, and all that, putting her in the audience, I was crazy about her, but she wasn't crazy about me, and I didn't know it. I just didn't know it. She didn't love me. But you relax with someone that you know very well and get your 100% approval. So I told, but I say things for too many times, don't I? Well, anyway, so the thing is that Al Pacino, I said, he said, do you do that? I said, every single show. At the time, I didn't know Harry, and I said, I put my father in the audience. And he said, that won't work with me. My father doesn't approve of me at all. And he said, I've had trouble getting along with my father. He thinks I'm that. So he said, that won't work with me. I thought he was cute that way. I said, well, then try your mother. It'll work.
Carol, on another serious note, twice that I know of in your career, you created brilliant characterizations on the stage. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Hello, Dolly. And in each instance, when Hollywood went to make the motion picture based on the musical, the part was given to someone else.
Yes.
How in the world did you deal with that?
I was playing when they announced that Barbra Streisand was going to play Hello, Dolly. I was in Canada at the time, and I was on the 18th floor of the Queen Elizabeth Hotel, I'll never forget. And I was standing at the window, and I thought, this pain will stop. All I have to do is lean over out the window, and it'll be over. I can't take the pain any longer. I just can't do it. I nurtured it, loved it, fed it milk, gave it. But you see, the problem with actors, it drains from the family. It takes away from your family. My poor son, all of it, Ethel Merman said to me, how do you let a son know you love him even though you're doing 8 shows a week and keeping the show going? That's the important thing. By getting on television and radio and doing interviews with the press and everything else, you got to keep the show going. That's your obligation as the star. And how do you let him know that you love him? And I said, Ethel, I'm the worst mother in the world. I have sapped everything from my son. And he's now quite successful political cartoonist, and he has the same talent my father had. He could turn into somebody else and put that person down with a few lines. He gets every person he draws that looks just like Ronald Reagan. It looks just like the President of the United States. It looks just like who he's drawing. With a few lines, he turns into them while he's drawing, and so did Al Hirschfeld. And Al Hirschfeld, I sent him over to, and Al Hirschfeld semi-adopted him, and he watched Al drawing people. I was Al Hirschfeld's favorite.
Were you?
Yes.
Well, that's a famous.
That's my badge of honor. That's my, I'm proud of that.
Well, so what I'm sensing, Carol, that what enabled you to get past the pain of not getting those well-deserved roles was the ability you had to just pour everything into keeping your work going.
No, you just die with it and get sick. I was sick under death, and I watched the movie, and I thought, gee, I don't think they know what the spine is.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that 20th century
But
Fox...
she could sing.
Yeah, she could sing, but it was the biggest financial loss that studio had up to that time.
And they had truckloads of hate mail, I understand, being driven in every day.
But you know, there is something for you to tell us in terms of young actors and actresses sitting here today, how one deals with rejection. Obviously, that's something one has to master as a performer.
No, you just almost died. Rejection. You almost do. I mean, that's all. You get sicker and sicker. So you go on to the next show. That's about the best thing you can do.
Right, very good. You've done so much work trying to pull young audiences.
I don't mean to say Barbra Streisand isn't a great, great singer. And she also isn't a comic. I mean, Dolly is funny as a crutch, you know?
Yeah, right. You've done so much work drawing young audience members into the theater. And when Dolly played in San Francisco at one point, you created what were called carol seats. Do you recall that? In San Francisco, to lure young students to come see Hello, Dolly? They were called carol seats. Evidently some kind of a discount.
You know, I never reread what I wrote.
Well, anyway, it was a great idea, and I'm glad I read what you wrote, because it was the motivation for a lot of these questions. You and your dear husband Harry do a lot of campaigning on the whole issue of the importance of keeping the arts in schools.
Oh.
And I know you have a foundation devoted to this topic. How difficult has it been to push that notion that we keep the arts being taught in schools?
We're dead without it. It's the fall of the Holy Roman Empire. It's exactly what they did. Oh, forget the Sistine Chapel. Let's get into debauchery, temporary pleasures, more and more deeper. Forget everything. Get into what we consider fun. It's not fun. The fun is achievement. The achievement is the fun. But they didn't think so. And Harry tells me there were many empires. Chinese Empire, same thing. They last about as long as the United States of America, and they get into temporary pleasures. Overeating, oversex, trying everything, drugs, everything. It's the end of it. That's the end of our civilization. John Adams, the second president of the United States, said, "Thank God all my sons," and he must have had about 4 or 5, and they all became successful businessmen, because he said, "Thank God they had the arts." From the time they were little, they were taught the arts, painting, everything, every kind of art there is. And Einstein said, the Princeton University wanted to find out, how did you discover the theory of relativity? And they invited him to Princeton University, and where he taught. And he said, all right, he came. And they said, all right, now explain to the faculty and the students the process of discovering the theory of relativity that broke everything wide open. And he said, he stood there and he took out his violin case and opened that up. And he said, instead of 1 hour of trying to explain how I discovered it, I will do a violin solo for you. And he played his violin all the way through for 1 hour. And I keep wondering what Princeton University got out of that violin recital. I mean, maybe they didn't get anything, but Einstein thinks that told the whole story. He said, I discovered it when I realized, he said, no, I'm not smarter than my fellow physicists. I simply discovered as I kept working, stayed at it longer. He had a laboratory where he could stay, and he said he never got out of it. They said that it was just, and he said I stayed at it until suddenly I realized the universe. He said, thank you. I found the infinite harmony. I saw the infinite harmony of the universe. And he said he went back to his laboratory, he split the atom. Mankind has been trying to split the atom for generations before, much